My love for crafting terrain or painting minis was gone. Hey folks, my name is Leif and you're watching my YouTube channel called DEVSANDDICE, where I normally paint miniatures or craft terrain for the tabletop. As you might have noticed, I haven't been as active as I've normally been in the YouTube channel, no new posts on Instagram, no new tweets, and very sporadic activity on the Discord server. I'm sure some of you are asking what has happened, where is Leif? And this video is an attempt for me to explain what has happened and I give a little bit of context. But in order to do that, we need to go back to late summer or early autumn. Work was busy as heck and I barely had any vacation. This meant that I really didn't have that much time to rest, but bounced between work and family life constantly. It was during this time I also managed, with great efforts I might add, to craft my largest and most complex terrain piece yet. Awfully proud of this one, but it was a bunch of late nights to make this beast. And as if this wasn't enough, one of my dearest, closest relatives was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. They had to stay in the hospital for the better part of an entire month. Thankfully, this person pulled through without any permanent afflictions or such, so they're doing very well today. Well, and you know who you are, and I sort of just want to say, you are my hero. I don't show you enough appreciation, and I love you. In the middle of all of this chaos, it was time to start doing some crafting for the channel again, but something felt off. It felt wrong, I was struggling, I didn't feel like crafting or mini painting. Looking back at it now, I realized that I most likely pushed away all of my feelings and compartmentalized it somehow, because I had stuff to do for me and my family and to make sure that, everything was okay. I really tried to motivate myself to do some miniature painting or some terrain crafting, but I think it was during this time I just felt like my love for crafting terrain or painting minis was gone. I felt like butter scraped over too much bread. In short, I had suffered a burnout. I've spent almost 4 years of my free time trying to entertain and educate people with minor successes. It was at this point I was really thinking hard about what do I want to do with the YouTube channel. Then something happened a couple of weeks ago. One of our D&D sessions got cancelled because not all could attend, and we decided to play Mordheim instead. There were 3 players all in all. None of us really knew how to coordinate a 3-player game, so I sort of suggested that, hey, how about you 2 team up and fight me? I didn't really care, but it made sense since I was playing witch hunters and they had warbands of ogres and orcs and goblins. Destruction versus order. The odds were severely against me, and again, my heart wasn't in it. The match started and the 25-unit army was terrifying to see as they came rushing towards my petite 11-unit warband of witch hunters. I had to down a total of 7 models to force route test, whereas they only needed to down 3 of my units. The first rounds were spent with some of my units trying to pick them off at a distance with crossbows, but no dice. The mob of destruction was coming closer and my speedy warhound was put out of action immediately. Good start. My Sigmar War Priest, who was limp because of an old leg injury, cast the spell Hearts of Metal, which meant that my morale got a slight boost in case of rout tests. Soon enough, all units were caught up in a bloody melee, and my doom was impending. Many of the enemy units had multiple wounds, meaning I would have to wear them down and not get myself killed in the process to stand any chance. Now, what happened next goes beyond me, and I've never seen anything like this before. It was almost as if the dice gods saw my apathetic demeanor and thought, we'll show this Viking a thing or two. Multiple opponents attacked each and every one of my witch hunters, but somehow they missed, or I parried their attacks. Little by little, I managed to wound my mighty foes and even take some of them out of action. Looking back at it, I can even remember me getting into the game and starting to shout insults and curses in my best Reichspiel manner.
Yeah, filthy greenskins, come here! All glory to Sigma!
Now eventually the enemy horde forced me to do rout tests. I rolled and I just barely made it. Thanks to the spell I had cast earlier, Hail Sigmar. Round by round went by, and eventually I, against all odds, had downed 7 of the enemy hordes. And it wasn't the goblins or squigs, actually the orcs and ogres. This meant that I had forced a rout test upon them. Now, let's be honest here, I didn't really think I stood a chance here either. Their leadership was 9, and on 2d6s that meant that they approximately had an 85% chance of succeeding, which meant I was clinging on to 15% chance of winning. The room fell silent as they rolled a 10. I had won. Without thinking about it, I at this point let out a shriek that probably still echoes in the hobby store. I had done what seemed impossible against a much more mightier foe, both in terms of experience but in terms of sheer numbers. As we went through the post-game process of Mordheim, none of my witch hunters died, but gained a lot of experience and got to make some advance rolls. Then it was time for everyone's favorite table, the exploration chart. I got a total of 6 d6s to roll, and to my amazement, I got a triple 6, which meant that I got returning a favor. I gained the services of any one hired sword for the next battle, free of charge. This was my best roll ever on the exploration chart. And looking back at it, originally I think I attended because I didn't want to let my friends down. And I'm really thankful for having such good friends in all earnest. But throughout this process or this game of Mordheim, with all of its randomness and humor, it rekindled my love for the game, for wargaming and tabletop games in general. And funny enough, with that came a sense of wanting to craft and paint. I felt passion and hope. Now, I'm not going to be able to say whether or not I suffered an actual clinical burnout from crafting and miniature painting and YouTubing, but what I can say is that I felt exhausted, cynical, and, in all earnest, detached. I would be lying if I said that, no, everything is fine now because I've played Mordheim, but at least it's a start. Exhaustion and cynical feelings are something that come over me almost every time I post a video. Even though you wonderful people keep telling me how appreciated my videos are, I unfortunately don't always see it in the numbers that come back from YouTube analytics. Now, I could complain on YouTube as a platform, but if I took the stance of trying to be constructive instead, well then, I think I need to make some changes. I want to try to figure out a way where I can simplify the process of making a video without really suffering anything in terms of quality or content. This is something that I'm doing consciously now, so you might be in the near future seeing some different experimentation, so please bear with me. This includes also miniature painting, which I have missed something fierce. Misunderstand me correctly, terrain crafting is awesome, but I need to mix it up. And to be honest, I'm also running out of actual space. I think the channel in all will be focusing much more on wargaming and Mordheim specifically. And on that note, I have been thinking about including another game in my repertoire, so if you have any good suggestions, please feel free to share your thoughts down in the comments below. And I have some videos already planned. Heck, some of them are actually already in the production pipeline. For instance, making a bespoke building for Mordheim, finding and painting an ogre bodyguard, and finally a video where I discuss some of the finer details of Mordheim buildings and game design. All in all, I'm not gonna give any promises regarding the YouTube channel. Say one. I'm gonna give it my best shot. If you like the channel and you want to support it, then please feel free to share videos or the channel or likes, subscribe if you haven't. All of these things really help the channel and me out. With that, I wish you lots of love, stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.